I'm Momtaz, and today I'm joined by Ruhul, the co-founder and director of architectural practice Paraa, which is based in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Ruhul, welcome.
Thank you, Momtaz.
I should say, as well as being an architect, you're also an artist in your own right as well. So how do you manage to kind of have your day job as the architect and then to keep up with your creative hobbies?
I think it's really been challenging, and as an individual who's really interested in both the personal history of who I am, so in Bangladesh, I go and explore and I do work. In terms of the drawing and the artistic practice, it started really with a railway station and sort of exploring, first of all, in terms of observational drawing. So what I do is I go around drawing with a sketchbook and some paper. I'm just drawing all the time. And as we were doing a project in the railway station and doing some research there, I stopped and I said, oh, it'd be really interesting to maybe draw some portraits. And I didn't really know who of. But as I was drawing some of the women, some of the men, some of the children, and then I sort of honed in on the children. And so that practice became really interesting to me in terms of sitting there with the children, asking them to sit, knowing full well they probably can't sit.
There has been a great link between working with young people in terms of the architecture as well, because one of the projects you've been involved in was actually creating a children's centre. So could you tell us a short bit about that as well?
I think it's more about the process. I think we've been working with people, so even as an artist, I'm also working with the individual who sat with me. And I think the very idea of a portraiture sort of exercise, you have someone sit there still and ask them to say nothing, and usually it's sort of a very Western kind of way of doing it. You ask them to pose, and it's very much like, look this way, look that way, but it's much more about just being. And I think this is the challenge that I have is, how do you capture a human being, especially someone who's very vulnerable in that environment. And I'm very vulnerable in that environment as well, because I'm exposing myself as an artist.
What's been the reaction from other people at the station, seeing this strange man drawing children, all these children kind of surrounded, a bit like the Pied Piper, I guess. And what's been the reaction from people seeing you do this?
I think the most interesting reaction that I've had was a group of people. I was on a platform and have some adults come around. And there are passers-by. I don't normally get a big crowd. It's just usually relatively just me and sort of a group of people. But there was one individual who had asked this question, to me directly. So, oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And I have my sort of artist hat on, so I don't respond. I don't react. I'm just sort of in my sort of zone. And one of the children sort of responded in this kind of, responded to him and said, "Je buje, she buje." So, who understands, understands, and you don't need to. And that was the response. That was it. And the man didn't say anything after that, and sort of just walked away. And that to me sort of at least said something about the way that some of these children are reacting and understanding that, I'm there, I'm drawing, but I'm not there to take, I'm there to give. And I think, at least in my utilitarian kind of mindset, I'd like to imagine that I'm giving something to them, and which is a moment in time away from whatever they're doing. And just, we're just having a conversation and a chat. And sometimes we go for lunch and sometimes we don't. And it's very much about this idea that as an artist, I'm able to just do something that doesn't inflict harm on them, that isn't putting them in danger, that isn't questioning them, that isn't saying, oh, who are you? Are you a street child? And I don't have my researcher hat, I'm not interviewing them, they're not under interrogation. They're able to just sit, and if they're bored, they get up and go, and sometimes they fall asleep. So there's all sorts of different things happening, and each one is a very different exercise, and that's why it sort of excites me and challenges me. So every time I go back to the station, I'm nervous every time I go there, because I'm thinking, what if I can't draw? What if I can't draw? What if I can't do it justice?